I want to speak about Jordan Henderson, not technically a Liverpool player anymore, we know, obviously, and that's kind of what this conversation is about. It wasn't that long ago when we were speaking in the summer, Neil, about Henderson to Saudi Arabia. We laughed it off thinking it's nonsense, and then all of a sudden it happens. And I do remember you saying a couple of times, like, you know, I'm not sure, I wonder how long he'll last, and I wonder if he'll come to regret it. By all accounts, a report from Matt Hughes, I think either first for the Daily Mail, I'm right in saying, then later collaborated by a few other people, says Jordan wants a return already. You know, there are massive financial implications if he does that, by the way. He's going to lose a lot of wage, and he's going to be taxed an awful lot of money, which is obviously interesting. I can't say I feel sorry, I'm not sure what the right word is, but like, it's not, this doesn't come as a huge surprise. You literally touted that this could be, it was in play when it happened at the first time, but it does feel like it's been a really, really rocky, 8 to 10 months for Jordan Henderson, really, and where a lot of things have gone sideways, and a lot of it's by his own making as well. What are your thoughts that he seemingly wants to return ASAP from Saudi?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, the word you were looking for was maybe sadness. There's just a sadness to it, you know.
It's a shame, yeah.
Yeah, a shame, yeah. It's, I mean, you're right, I wouldn't say I predicted it, but it doesn't surprise me that we're in this position. And he's not the only one, is he? There's a few, you know. I think there's reports about Sadio Mane not particularly being happy. I think Firmino's had it as well. I wonder what it says about the whole project a little bit with Saudi Arabia, where, you know, all the glitters kind of comes to mind, that there are things that they can give you that no one else can, you know, of course, but there are things that they just can't give you no matter what. And I mean, I remember it was put to me, and I won't name, you know, who it was, obviously, or even what capacity they were in. But I remember being said to me that they were it was jokey, but it was like, I can only imagine how fuming he would be, Jordan Henderson, with things like the training kit, with things like, because they know what he was like at Liverpool in terms of, you know, everything had to be spot on. He said, I just can't imagine him swallowing, you know, sort of second-rate stuff over there, and really the second-rate stuff over there relates to the football, doesn't it? You know, and the whole thing around it, the crowds, the pitches, the kind of the experience of playing football over there. It's not the same, and you know, I don't think anyone. Well, maybe not anyone, but I don't think a lot of people have a lot of sympathy for him. I don't. I think, you know, he would never seek our advice, but I think we could have told him that it's going to be hot and humid over there, and the crowds aren't going to be the same as playing at Anfield. I did wonder this the other week when Firmino and Fabinho came to Anfield and watched that Newcastle game, whether they thought, I would have enjoyed that, you know, looking at that over there. But from his point of view, it leaves me in an even more difficult position now, because one, like you say, he's going to have to swallow a financial loss, a reputational loss, a loss of face. Okay, he can deal with that. Where's he going to end up? It isn't going to be Liverpool. It isn't going to be in the Champions League, I wouldn't have thought. It isn't going to be even, you know, one of the top 7 or 8 clubs in the country. That was what he couldn't swallow, wasn't it, when he was leaving? He was like, I want to be playing every week for one of the best clubs in the country. You're going to come back and go to Luton or Crystal Palace or Fulham or wherever it is. And it was also put to me recently this week, speaking to people, are the Saudi Arabians going to want to take that loss of faith? You know, whatever your thoughts on his politics and his hypocrisy and all those kind of things, it's a big win for them to get someone like him. You know, he was the sort of, I wouldn't say he was the unobtainable, but he was one of the ones that you say, like, you're breaking down a barrier if you get him. You know, like, look at that, we can get anyone. We can get anyone. Are they going to want to just let him go and say, oh, sorry, didn't you like it? Go back. Does that undermine their kind of, that undermines their kind of, you know, drive of recruitment, doesn't it?
It's almost like we always wondered, Cristiano Ronaldo was the one who facilitated everyone going. The first one to leave, there might be more to follow. And so while the Saudis allow that, he's under contract.
And we did also say that Jordan, for another generation of younger players, does Jordan going to Saudi Arabia, does that make it, legitimise it when you're a 21-year-old and you go, do you know what? So what? Like, I'm going to go and earn my career's money in a year. Actually, if he goes and then comes back, then it has the opposite effect of that, doesn't it? Where any player, whether they're 21 or 31, thinks, tell you what, Jordan's a, I like him, or he's a sort of a proper professional, and he's gone over there and couldn't deal with it. Puts me off. I thought it was. I don't know if there's. I don't know what the sort of sympathy element would be like among the Liverpool supporters. I think it would obviously be mixed, and it would be unfair for me to generalise around what people think. But I think what I can safely generalise is I don't think many people will be that surprised by this emerging, and I don't think many people. I think a lot of people would have been able to predict it at the time. I'm not at all claiming that I was ahead of the curve in terms of we might struggle there. It was put to me, like I say, that there'd be a lot of things that he just wouldn't like about playing in a league like that, a development league. Jordan Henderson is someone who their whole career really has been about trying to give the highest possible standards and maintaining the highest possible levels. Yeah, he's eschewed that for 6 months.
Yeah, and I don't want to twist the knife or anything like that, because that's not the intention. But like he did say, one of the reasons he went there as well, when he was insistent it wasn't all financial, which I don't think many people would buy into, ironically. But he did say like he didn't really fancy playing against Liverpool. Like another reason potentially why he would go there. Well, if he's after a Premier League return, that's almost gone out the window as well. It's almost another thing where people, like, you mentioned the way the blockers before, and again, it comes in different shapes and sizes, and who are we to judge someone on their career choices per se? But it's just another one of those. It's like I said, it's always sad because we want to encourage these guys to talk. We want them to talk open honestly and let us hear what they've got to say. But yeah, it feels like everything he said is almost coming back to bite him on the backside a little bit now, because that could be another one where people go, I remember the interview that people described as a car crash. I think it was in the Athletic. It was Adam Crafton's interview, I'm right in saying.
You've only seen Adam Crafton,
yeah. And then since then, he's got a lot of stick. And if he comes back, I can tell you now, the day he signs, if he did sign with the Premier League club, there's going to be someone's going to clip out the interview and saying, or whatever, didn't want to play against Liverpool anymore, and all of a sudden he's rocking up at Anfield with X team. I don't know. It all feels like I said, sadness and just it's the way it's gone isn't great. Like I don't know. It just there's ways to exit a football club, and it feels like this is one of the worst we've seen for a long time, really. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I'm not sure. It is easy for us to say, well, he should have just said, I went for the money. But if he'd have done that, he would have got. There would have been a lot. There would have been a lot of sticks. So there's no right answer. But I think he's come closer to finding the wrong answer than most had. And I do think a little bit. Just think. I don't want to say poorly advised, because I think he's his own man. He's 33. He's captain of Liverpool for years. He should be able to make his own decisions. But I just think he's a good case study in kind of how, the optics really, and how to not manage them particularly well. There'll be PR cases at agencies across the globe of how not to do things, and Jordan Henderson's name's going to be right near the top of them. Yeah, and that interview that he gave with The Athletic, there was a lot of stuff in there that just it almost felt naive. Well, the way he was speaking, it felt like, Jordan, you're smart. You're smarter than that. You must know how that sounds, or that that won't wash. There's no reason why he should feel bad about playing against Liverpool, by the way, in the sense of he gave enough service, and whatever the aftermath of his leaving, no one can argue with what he did for Liverpool as a player. And the fact that he never ever gave anything but everything that he had. So there's no reason why he should feel bad if he was to come back with Fulham. Yep. That he feels like he's betrayed. Adam Lallana's been back. Listen, I've seen players who did nothing for Liverpool come back and get hero worshipped. I remember John Joe Shelby scoring a goal at Anfield and spending the next 2 minutes apologising for it and being clapped and thinking, well, you're being horrendous. You're only John Joe Shelby. So there's no reason why you should feel like that. But when you've said it as a justification for leaving, then it's going to get thrown back at him at some point. But I'm interested to see what happens, because, like I say, I think it would be a big step from the Saudis to say, okay, you've had your go. I mean, maybe they might feel like job done.
Can I throw something? Yeah, that might be more.
Liverpool coming back to Liverpool?
No, that's not going to happen.
No.
Ticks. If you talk about keeping the Saudis happy and potentially an even more controversial move is Newcastle.
I know you're going to say.
And Luke Edwards on the BBC, he does his transfer podcast on BBC, and he says he reports that it's been discussed that Newcastle, obviously they're in desperate need of midfield. There's a low move now. You talk about burning bridges with an old club. If we can stomach, I mean, Sunderland will not. That's a mad one. But like, I'm just thinking logically, is Saudi Arabia, the Newcastle link, is that one way they save face? He was talking, wasn't he, about the ban didn't get when they voted.
Yeah, Ruben Neves it was over, wasn't it?
They voted on it.
We'll be looking in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that would be. If he wants to go full WWE villain, rocking up at Newcastle is like, it's almost like I'm the bad guy now, I'll own it kind of thing. But
the only way it would have been better is if he'd have done it last week, so he could play on the weekend and make his debut. That would be adding fuel to the fire, definitely. I mean, look, I don't think anything would shock me.
It's mad,
really. I think I'd be less shocked about that than him coming back to Liverpool, for example. But it's just
he's in a corner, and
he's in a corner. Yeah, he is in a corner. Yeah, I think we should also, in amongst all this, we should probably be fair enough to point out that it's not just him, is it? That's in this position, as in his family. He has got family considerations, and there are a lot of things that I think there'll be a few people who'll be pointing and laughing and saying, well, sorry, gutted for you, but at the same time, like there are a lot of things that he needs to consider, but I can't believe that they weren't considered more in the summer, really, because we would have discussed all of these things. He's gonna hate playing in a team. Also, I think also the fact that it was like he wasn't. When a lot of money's paid for a Benzema and a Ronaldo and a Neymar, you're like, yeah, I understand that. You sort of pay over the odds for those players because they're sort of game-changing signings, aren't they? The whole thing about Jordan Henderson was that he played in good teams, and he found roles within teams, and he lifted collectively. So he was always going to find it hard, wasn't he, to be he's not stardust in terms of give me the ball and I'll just make everything happen. He needed a structure around him, really, to be a top player, which he was. So these things are, I don't know, all these things that he doesn't like about it, they were so predictable, for me anyway. They were so obviously that he was going to struggle to, he was never going to go over there and be, my God, the best player in the Saudi League is Jordan Henderson. Wow, what an individual player. It was never going to be that. He was always going to struggle for maybe acceptance, or appreciate. He struggled for it in the Premier League, even though he was lifting the Premier League.
At Liverpool,
yeah, exactly. even in his peak years when he was winning everything, there were still people who, I think, if everyone was fit, would have said, does Jordan Henderson get in Liverpool's team? I think he always did, but these are just predictable problems, and I wonder the impact it has even if he doesn't leave, what impact it has on the next wave of people who are considering going to Saudi Arabia, where they think, okay, that might be an extra factor. If you were trying to convince someone not to go, Jordan Henderson, I think, would be one of the players that you'd go, just have a look at what's happened to him.
I was about to say, if we move the conversation on with, so Jordan obviously wants to return, there's other players as well. You're talking about the next wave. Mo Salah. You preempted me with my question there a little bit, but yeah, that he obviously the massive bid in the summer rejected. Everyone was just half convinced. So that'll be Salah next summer gone. If you were Mohamed Salah now, I'm guessing you'd have a word with Jordan at some point to get on the phone and go, what is it, like empty stadiums and blah blah. Salah would be better paid, of course. It's worth mentioning, whatever. And
he is one of those players. He is one of those star players that, he could do no wrong when he went over there. Really, I would imagine he would only have to step on the pitch and he would feel love of the fans. I don't think Jordan Henderson would feel that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the arguments we've used. Why would Salah go there, isn't it? Or why he wouldn't, is that the competitive elements of the player. He wants to win everything. He wants to be the record goal scorer of everything. He wants to win Golden Boots, AFCON. All these things, Ballon d'Ors. He wants to compete with those, and you're not going to do it in the Saudi Pro League, are you? And that would again, I think Henderson would just be another another sort of bullet point on that of like, and also don't forget your old captain, that, you know, he went there because he felt like, you know, his career was winding down or whatever it was. And he soon found out that it wasn't, like I say, all that glitters wasn't gold.
Absolutely, yeah. Worth keeping an eye on.
It was interesting. I thought it was interesting, you know, Klopp asked about it, wasn't he, on Sunday. And he played it well, didn't he? Because Klopp often says this thing of like, I've got nothing to say about that, and then he goes on for 2 minutes and you think, you've said a fair bit there, Jürgen. But there will be an expectation, or I think a hope from some Liverpool fans, that Jürgen sort of goes, well, you know,
tough luck,
boo-hoo. But I don't think he would. I think you can tell there's still that. I mean, even he called him Hendo, didn't he? There was even that kind of respect of, I think there'll be a sadness among a few people at Liverpool that like he didn't listen, or that he jumped too quickly, or he jumped to the wrong place. I think there'll still be a sort of an appreciation for Liverpool that it's sad that it's turned out this way for, you know, one of our great captains.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. You're about to watch a clip from the Journo Insight show. It was me and Neil Jones. Yes, we record this show each and every week over on redmenplus.com. If you want to check it out in full this week and for the entire month of January, completely free, head on over to redmenplus.com. If you sign up using the promo code CLOP when you join as a monthly captain subscriber, you'll get a month's worth of your subscription for free. There are no minimum sign-up fees, no terms, none of that nonsense. Basically, you get a month for nothing. If you don't like it, you can cancel it, you won't be charged. If you do like it, continue the subscription, and yeah, you can get Journo Insight each and every week. Right, let's crack on with our chat about former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, legend tier status.